Okay, I think we're recording now. Let me adjust this so I don't get too much light. Okay. Yeah, daylight savings, here we go. Hi, my name is Sean Brilliant. I'm a marine biologist and I work for the Canadian Wildlife Federation. And I'm here today with Monik Richard, who is currently the Executive Director of the Petitcodiac Watershed Alliance. Monik and the Petitcodiac Watershed Alliance is a recipient of funding through our Endangered Species Fund this year in 2014. And I wanted to invite Monik to come on and talk a little bit about the projects that they're doing and the work that we're supporting. So welcome, Monik. Thanks very much for agreeing to do this.
Thanks for having me.
So let's just start very quickly. Can you give me a very short summary of the project that you're doing and what the work is about, what you're going to carry out?
Sure. Well, we're a watershed management organization. We're a nonprofit. We're based out of Moncton, New Brunswick. And our project is focused on the wood turtle. The wood turtle is a threatened species here in New Brunswick. It's also threatened federally. And basically, we want to know more about it. There hasn't been any research on the ground here in the Petitcodiac River watershed on wood turtle. We know that the turtle is here, but we don't really know what its major threats are or where it's nesting or overwintering or anything like that. So we just want to get out in the field, try to find where they are. We do a little bit of radio telemetry work to follow them around a bit and have some conversations with local landowners to just get some awareness raised in our area about this cool turtle.
So this is one of the big problems, particularly with rare species. Often we don't know if they exist in an area in the first place. And then in the area where you are in Moncton, essentially southeast New Brunswick, there's still a fair amount of wild area, but nonetheless Moncton, or the greater Moncton area, consists of several developed cities essentially, and they're always expanding. And I think it's a big challenge to spend time to find out what animals exist in these areas and maybe how we're impacting them as well. Do you expect to use volunteers to do these surveys and hunt for these turtles and or tag them?
Yeah, one of the major goals is to do what we call rapid assessment surveys. So these are habitat assessments, but also to find a turtle to kind of assess what's going on around them. So what are the threats? Could be development or it could be agricultural. We do have a little bit of both here in our watershed. But yes, one of the other goals is to involve volunteers to come and do the surveys with us so that we can both train them on how to keep going after the grants are completed, and also raise again that awareness in our community about species at risk.
Right. And do you have can you talk a little bit about what the benefit of this work is going to do? What do you hope to actually accomplish in terms of the conservation for this animal?
Sure. Well, like I was saying previously, we don't know a whole lot about these animals in New Brunswick. There's been a few groups doing some research and monitoring, mostly in northern New Brunswick. So we're really the first group that's focusing on the species in southeastern New Brunswick. And the province of New Brunswick just came out with new species at risk regulation. So they will be looking for fresh information about species at risk, and they'll be forming committees to inform recovery planning in the area. So we're hoping that our data will be fed into the larger system to make some important decisions about how to protect these species and understanding what the real threats are in our area.
Right. And this, as I mentioned earlier, this is really one of the biggest challenges, is that it's difficult to even understand how we affect species at risk, like the wood turtle, if we don't even know that they exist in an area. Do you expect, what sort of threats do you expect that turtles in the area may be dealing with, if or when you end up finding any?
Yeah, well, I think the bigger ones in our area are going to be linked to development. We do know that wood turtles like to hang out in the riparian areas of streams. That's also popular areas for construction, for cottages, for new homes. Um, and the other potential threat is agricultural activities. We know that wood turtles like to feed in hay fields. They like to go look for slugs and berries and things like that. So getting farmers to raise their mower blades to 10 centimeters for that
Right.
plowing near the riparian areas is really important.
Yeah.
Some of the
Well.
things we're anticipating.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And this work's going to take place this summer, is it? It's going to start this summer or spring, is it?
Yep, that's right. So the best time of year is usually late April, early May, before the grasses get too tall. Just when the turtles are starting to emerge from overwintering. They overwinter in the underneath the water. So that's when we'll get started, and if we can get a few turtles in the beginning, we'll do some telemetry equipment on them and follow them around for the summer, which is really cool.
Yeah. Well, great. That's really great. This is really wonderful. I really appreciate you taking the time to explain the project to us, and perhaps maybe even in the summer, if it's in the spring when you're doing these surveys, maybe we'll get back in touch with Petitcodiac Watershed Alliance then and see what sort of results you found or what you're coming up with so far, if that sounds good.
Sounds
Great.
good.
Thanks very much for your time, Monik.
Great.
Okay. Okay.